Hello YouTube, so in today's video we're going to talk about deload. So basically in the first part of the video I'm going to tell you what are the signs, how to actually recognize it, how to know that you're in an overtrained state and that you need a deload week, that you need to pull back a little bit either on your intensity or volume or just take a whole week off in order to catch up with your recovery. And then in the second part of the video I'm going to give you different approaches to deload. I'm going to tell you how to actually do a deload week. And just for those of you who maybe don't know, deload week is just a week when you take it on easy for 1 week because you were training hard, right? You were pushing your progressive overload and intensity from week to week to week to week, and you ended up being overtrained. So that's why you need to take, let's say 1 week, pull back a little bit, take it on easy so you catch up with recovery, so you get out of this overtrained state and so you get going again. So what are the signs that you need a deload? Now, how to actually know that you're overtrained and that you need a deload? First thing I would look at is your performance. So if your strength and overall performance in the gym just starts declining, even though you're, for example, eating the same and not changing any other variable, for example, drugs, food, that's all the same, but you just start losing strength for some reason, maybe you need a deload. Now, again, don't panic and look those things just over 1 day. So for example, if you have a bad day and then you don't lift as much that day, don't think that you automatically need a deload, right? But if this is happening over a course of 2-3 weeks, if you are just starting to lose strength or you just can't achieve progressive overload no matter how much you eat, how much you sleep, how many drugs you take, then yes, probably you need a deload. Because remember, in order to grow, in order to improve, you need to recover. And if you're not recovering, you're not improving. Simple as that. Moving on to second sign that you may need a deload. This is poor sleep. And I definitely notice that. Like every time I am like severely overtrained, my sleep just gets wrecked. This is probably due to both central nervous system burnout and cortisol elevation, which comes with overtraining. So for example, first thing, it would be much harder to fall asleep for me. I would be just like laying in bed and being awake and burned out for some reason, like, tired, but can't fall asleep. And then the second thing would be that even when I do fall asleep, I'm just like constantly waking up in the middle of the night. So poor sleep can also be a really good sign that you maybe need a deload. Now, third sign that you maybe need a deload is that you simply feel like shit. By that, I mean you feel drained, without energy, tired, unmotivated all the time for some reason. Or maybe even a little bit irritable, you're getting upset over the things that you wouldn't get upset over otherwise. So yeah, for example, with me, I definitely notice because I'm like really enthusiastic about doing what I love. I really like to go to the gym. I really like to film YouTube videos. I really like to do online coaching. But when I'm in severely overtrained state, for some reason, I'm just like, I just don't want to do it today. I'm just simply like really unmotivated and drained all the time. And things that I otherwise love to do, I just don't love to do as much anymore. I mean, I still love to do them, but I'm just not as motivated. So it's definitely good to track and pay attention to how you feel and how is your mood and all that, because that may also be a good indicator that you need a deload. Now, moving on to fourth sign that you maybe need a deload are the micro injuries. So by those, I don't really mean that when you go to the gym and just tear your muscle and then you can't train for 3 weeks. Not that major injuries, but those like little injuries that don't really prevent you from training, but are kind of annoying. So for example, those like injuries in the shoulders or in lower back, and you just go and you're like, oh, this body part doesn't really feel good today. And then over the course of a couple of weeks, you're just developing more and more of those micro injuries and you feel more and more uncomfortable training. This is also oftentimes a good indicator that your body is telling you something. Either it's telling you that you are performing some exercise incorrectly, or maybe you just need to pull back a little bit because you're forcing it too much, and that's why you are accumulating all these minor annoying injuries over the time. Moving on to what are we now? Fifth sign that you need a deload. And this is the last one. I mean, we could find them more, but I think those 5 are the most important ones to track. And this is simply that you get sick, right? So it doesn't happen every time, but when you're like severely overtrained, it definitely can happen. I've seen it happen multiple times, like also with me and with my clients and with people I talk to. So you definitely can get sick from overtraining. Your body simply gets overwhelmed from all the pushing, and maybe you should already take a deload 4 weeks ago, but you didn't because you're stubborn and you were like, oh, I'm not taking a deload, I'm just gonna push it, no pain, no gain, no days off, I'm gonna increase my dosage just a little bit, I'm gonna increase the food, and I'm gonna go balls to the walls. Then all of a sudden, bam, you get sick, and you're like, fuck. Why did I get sick? Your immune system crashes, and oftentimes you get a fever and you just feel like crap. You're sick for a couple of days, maybe even a week, because you didn't take a deload to give your body a break. So your body took a deload for itself. It just said, stop, like stop pushing me, you know, I need a break. And now you're gonna be sick for a couple of days, maybe even a week, and then you can continue. Now, those are the 5 signs that I look for when I'm wondering whether I need a deload or not. We could find them more, of course, but those are 5, the most important ones in my opinion. Now let's move on to second part of the video, and let me tell you how to actually do a deload. So there are multiple different ways to approach deload week. You could, first way would be to simply just take a week off and not go to the gym for 1 week. In 1 week, you won't lose anything. You won't lose any strength. You won't lose any muscle mass. It's just 7 days of the time. So you can just take a week off and then get back to training after 1 week. But of course, this approach is not for everybody because many of us are addicted to training. Therefore, it's hard for us to just not go to the gym for 7 days, right? So it's probably better for those of us who are addicted that we go to the gym, but we just take it on easy. So we just train like a pussies for 1 week, to say. So now, other way to approach deload would be to back off on intensity. So for example, you can do the same sets and everything, but you just train like a pussy. So you don't go with the working weight that you used to do before a deload, but maybe you have the weight. So for example, instead of doing chest press with 50 kilo dumbbells, maybe I'm doing them with maybe I'm doing it with only 25 kilo dumbbells, and I'm not pushing nowhere near to failure. Or I'm doing with 50 kilo, but I'm just doing half the reps. So for example, instead of doing 10 reps, I just do 5 reps. So again, I'm not pushing anywhere near to failure. Then next thing that you could do for a deload, maybe you still want to make your set feel a little bit hard. So you would rather cut back on volume than cut back on intensity. So I think you can do that too. But again, I don't advise you to train to failure. Even though you lower the volume of that workout, you still shouldn't train to failure during the deload week. So for example, you could, instead of doing 2 to 3 sets per exercise, or I don't know how many were you doing before, you maybe just do 1 working set per exercise like I do now in my current deload, but I don't take it to failure. I just end the set with like 2 reps in reserve. So that's also a nice approach to a deload. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think there is much to complicate when it comes to deload week. Basically, it's just either a week off or a week when you take it on easy and train like a pussy and just get some light pump with no hard training. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today's video. Hope you find my video useful. Like always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to support the channel's growth, and see you in next video.